You go ahead and lean up against me.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and lean up against
It
you.
was that.
That way we got to sleep with our faces in the fish. Hello and welcome to the Greenway Outdoors podcast. My name's Kyle.
I'm AJ.
I'm Jeff.
Ryan turned on our new
Epilepsy machine.
app. It's a real neon light of our logo. I've wanted one for years. We got one. There's a company that helped us and gave us a huge discount on it, and their link is below, or it's not because Abby refused to give it to us. So either way, thank you for the discount, and how cool
I'll
is
give it to you later.
I'm just pumped about it.
It's sweet.
But it's,
Are we sure it's neon?
Yeah.
It hums.
It hums. It better be for the price.
It looks like
You don't know.
LED.
No, it doesn't.
Dude.
If
It
you
looks
look
like
at
neon.
there's little individual lights in it.
Anyhow, it's got all kind of adjustments to it. Some people only listen to this podcast, so we're going to skip through this pretty quick. But it's custom, so you can make all these different changes and settings to it. And I don't know what will come across in the camera, if it'll come across that we're in seizure mode right now. But Ryan's doing this in honor of his father,
Yeah.
Nice.
who has seizures. So
Which, did you know that people who have epilepsy, the ones that have problems from lights,
I'm not hearing him in my mic in my headphones.
it's like 1% of people are like light sensitive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not a significant. So if 2% of the population has epilepsy, of that 2%, only like 1% has light sensitivity.
No kidding.
Those aren't the actual numbers, but it's something like that.
Yeah.
They're very small.
Very, very, very small.
But I love the sign. I've wanted one forever. A real neon one like this one that isn't LED. Neon, because it hums, and I like it. And Dirk from Boss Shot Shells got me hooked on like wanting a genuine neon one.
It's
So I'm
pretty sweet.
pretty pumped about it. But in addition to that, we're not upset with the neighbors or anything. We just happen to have these in the podcast room right now.
Damn delivery driver.
I know. So this right here is my 300 Win Mag, which I'm going to be using this year for some of our hunting episodes. This model is called the Savage Climb, Klym. It was one of those things where I didn't know if it was like LEM or if it's LEM, you know what I mean? But it's called the Climb. It is ultralight. It's made out of carbon fiber. And one of the cool things about this gun, too, you know, when you open up this gun and you look at just the frame and the body of it, it's so light that because it's light, you assume it's weak. Like it almost feels somewhat plasticky, but it's actually just straight carbon fiber. Now, historically, engineers would look at something like this when they're designing it, and they would be like, all right, well, we got to put in metal for where the screws go and things like that, because basically they do like a PSI test on the gun. And
It's like a pressure test.
yeah, it's like a pressure test, and they can like withstand with metal in them up to like 3,000 PSI.
Mhm.
So when they did the test on just the straight carbon fiber, which is so misleading that you might think it's plastic because it's so light, but it's not. They did the test on that. It was at like 5,000 PSI and still didn't break.
Nice.
So it's like, it's no metal in there. It's just straight carbon fiber. It's so light. It's so cool. It's got this adjustable stock here for your cheek. We've decked it out with this brand new Trijicon scope, which I'm excited to use. I wanted to show it off. I was kind of excited. And I actually made this gun, put it together. So it's got a custom gold trigger and thumb safety as well. But check out the Climb from Savage, because this carbon fiber barrel is beautiful too. It comes with a muzzle brake standard. But I will tell you what, this gun, I think MSRP is something like $2,600 or $2,700, but at a lot of places you'll see them for like $2,300, $2,400, sometimes even less. The budget of this gun for what you're getting, any other brand, man, they'd be pumping it out for like $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah.
So it's a great deal and just an incredible gun. I'm so excited
What's
to use
this whole thing for by the...
What's it? This right here?
No, below it.
That's for a sling.
Oh, okay.
And then, so there's just different...
I didn't know if it was like a,
Yep, that's...
a grip thing.
Yep, you can
Or
put
a
different
bipod.
sides. Yep,
Mhm.
so we're going to actually put bipods on them, especially these ones here. And this is the second gun that Ryan built. He's got it folded already.
Yeah.
That one's
So-
in 308 caliber, and it's called the 110. That one's the Ultralight Elite. And the stock obviously folds like that. And this is actually hollow, but again, it's that carbon fiber. The whole gun's carbon fiber. The barrel is, it's super short, something that you could pack like in your pack.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. The functionality of folding that is just awesome. What
It
it
just
can
looks
fit
cool.
Oh,
it's awesome, especially with the gold.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's got the gold.
Which is limited to us.
Yeah, he's got the gold trigger as well.
These are both great for like long hike hunts because
Yeah.
no one wants to carry around a 7-8 pound gun when they got to hike 2-3 miles to get to where they're going.
Yeah, so we've got the 308 and the 300 Win Mag. We went with those calibers this year because I wanted something that could be a little bit smaller and have distance. The 308 gives you so much versatility because you can shoot from Nosler, you can shoot a 110 grain bullet or a 115, something very small, all the way up to like 175, 180. So there's such a range of bullet size that you can shoot with the 308 that, like, you look at the ballistics on a really light ballistic tip 308 from Nosler, and the ballistics are insane. You're getting like a 4-inch drop at 300 yards, something like that.
Wow.
It's like an insane thing. So the 308 is just so versatile. You can use it for smaller game. You can use it for bigger game. And it's a pretty readily available ammunition. And like I said, Nosler has so many different options. So this year, I want to go for the 308 for kind of my everyday gun, which is what I got this exact one. And then the 300 Win Mag for that. Jeffrey, you went a little different.
Mm-hmm.
He's going with the 270 Winchester, which also has really interesting and good ballistics. I think the 270 is probably an unsung hero in the ballistics category.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow it like gets overlooked all the time. But if you flip a box of ammo over, you're shooting anywhere from like 130 grain bullet up to maybe 150 or 160.
Yeah.
160 would be on the high end, probably 150. You're getting incredible terminal velocity.
Yeah.
You're getting great knockdown power, and it's kind of the go-to ammo we've used for years.
Yeah, it's a very flat, moving, very quick projectile. It's a great all-around gun for most hunts that you could do here in Michigan anyways.
Yeah. And then lastly, you didn't have one, and it's my favorite ammo, and that's the 28 Nosler. So you picked up one of those.
Yeah.
28 Nosler, for those of you who don't know, would be like everything a 7mm wishes it could be. Very similar. They've got 160 grain offerings up to 175. The 175, you think 300 Win Mag, 300 Weatherby, like those rounds, you often think like 180 grain is like the standard. That 175 is basically the same thing, and the ballistics are obnoxious. You're looking at 3,300 feet per second, 3,400 feet per second right out of the muzzle from Nosler stock ammunition. So the 28 Nosler, extremely fast for such a big bullet, and the knockdown power on that is incredible. I shot a bison with it and dropped it immediately. I shot a giant moose, possibly the biggest one shot in Maine last year. At least it was for a while. Instantaneous death. So that's a pretty incredible ammunition too. I nerd out a little bit on guns, and everybody kind of has their own opinion. And I will say this, Savage has hundreds of different guns to choose from, quite literally hundreds. So there's something for everybody. This is what we're going with this year. I recommend the Climb, and I really recommend the Ultralight Elite too. I'm going to use mine for the bear hunt because we're going to be following dogs, and it's just going to be walking and walking and walking. And real quick, before we move on, because I know we have a lot of stories, a lot to cover today, and I'm excited about it. But I talked to the people that we're going to bear hunt with. Also, that was your job. Sorry. They just messaged me. Messaged me last night. They kind of went to Wisconsin to do like a trial run of running their dogs because it's going to be in the UP, which is basically Wisconsin. And they lost another one to a wolf.
Really?
Yep.
Come on.
They lost one last year. They lost one this year. And they weren't the only ones. There was like, they heard of like 3 or 4 other people just last weekend getting ready for bear season and lost their dogs.
Jeez.
And it's something no one's talking about, but we do these reintroductions of wolves, and people are very passionate about it. I'd like to make a couple quick key notes before we move on. Number one, the wolves that we're reintroducing right now are not the same wolves that were here. That's in Colorado. That's not even the same wolves. And people are like, well, they were on the landscape at one point. I don't know how to say this other than quite literally there was a reason we got rid of them.
Yeah.
You know, they outcompete us for food, if you want to consider venison and, that sort of thing our food. And then people say, well, you should just be a vegetarian and not hunt. And that's fine, but that's still going to, don't get me started on what that's going to do to crops and food. And if you're interested, in the link below, you can find the podcast where I debate the vegan guy, and then you can go right down that road of an hour and a half of me just dismantling that argument. But if you get back to reality, they're putting these wolves back out, and they're reintroducing them in these places to establish a population. And people will be like, well, they're the ultimate conservationists. No, they're not. Because wolves don't have, they don't buy tags. They don't practice conservation as far as how many they harvest. That people say they don't kill just to kill. That's wrong. Have you ever heard about a wolf or a panther or a cougar getting in a hen house? They do not kill one. They kill all. They're about as good at conservation as raccoons are, if you know anything about raccoons too. Which, by the way, we have a vlog coming out of us trapping some raccoons at a farm nearby. But back to the wolf thing. Another problem and detriment that we're seeing is people going up in the UP that live there and just have pets, or people that happen to want to hunt in any way, shape, or form with dogs, are constantly losing their dogs. It's like happening always. The guy that we're going bear hunting with, assuming he can make it there with how many dogs he's got left, he's down 2 dogs in 2 years.
That's rough.
And he's
a lot goes into training those dogs, buying them. Like, it's a whole. Ugh.
And he knows so many people that had the same problem. So it's an unsung problem right now. No one's talking about. The wolf populations in the UP have skyrocketed. Obviously, in Wisconsin, they're very high. And they are just wiping out anyone's dogs. And he said, I was like, man, well, why didn't you shoot him or this or that? Or number one, that's going to put you in hot water. He said, but number two, he goes, Kyle, that dog will be 100 yards from you. He'll be within, you'll be able to see him. You'll see the wolves move in. And within a second and a half, they've got him gutted.
Oh, my gosh.
It's just, and the dog's screaming, and it's just horrendous.
Oh.
But there's another thing is like, you can understand. People are like, I can't believe they would go out and just shoot those wolves back in the day. That guy gets it.
Put him in your yard.
He gets right. Everyone wants them around. They just don't want them around them.
Yeah. What does that sound
You know?
like?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, go up and pet the big cuddly bear. Yeah.
I recently heard a story, and I don't know how true it was, but that someone that thought they were shooting a coyote, but it ended up being a wolf.
No, that.
But it was in Lansing.
Yeah.
Debunked?
No, not debunked.
Oh.
Not that I know of. I think it's real.
Okay.
I think someone transported it or something
Right.
like that. That guy actually went to court. He was going to get in trouble. Didn't get in trouble. Where it went from there, I'm not 100%
Okay.
sure. But yeah, it's
Because when I heard Lansing, I'm like, that doesn't seem possible.
no, you wouldn't think so. But they will swim across too. They're going to be in the Lower Peninsula in no time.
Okay.
Not good.
Right.
Not good. Not going to be good for deer populations. Not going to be good. And you can get tinfoil hatty, and I have before on the subject. Let's look at it. If the wolves kill all the deer, then nobody's going to deer hunt. If nobody buys deer hunting tags, then hunting becomes a cost on our tax system, and they'll get rid of it. And then if you don't need to hunt, you don't need guns.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I know people think I'm nuts for that, but I genuinely think that's the case.
Well, because no one thinks about it firsthand. Then you bring it up, and they're like, or if they think about it just a little bit longer, that
Right.
starts to make sense.
Well, and why would you, because otherwise, why would you bring the wolves back? And they're like, well, they were supposed to be here. That's not even the same one. That's like you having a dog, or let's do Jeffrey. You having a dog and it dies. And we're like, well, you know what? We'll get you a cat. And we'll give you a cat. Now it's the same. I mean, they're not the same thing.
Oh, you had a German Shepherd. Here, I got you a Chihuahua.
Yeah, and that's essentially. Were you trying to look up that story?
Yeah, it did happen, but they don't speak to like why or how it's here, other than the DNR is investigating it and saying, "Don't be worried about it."
Yeah, shut up.
They're like they just keep pointing back to like, oh, they're in the UP. They're in the UP.
Yep.
Was that your bit?
No.
What's your bit?
So I was thinking about when you go duck hunting,
Okay.
and you're done at the end of the day, you got your ducks, and then there's a group of people that would be like, "Hey, do you want our ducks?" And then you either say yes or no.
Yeah.
And I wonder how often that either happens around the country, or I wonder if that happens when people do these big game hunts where they shoot something but they don't want the meat or something like that. Like we had the instance with black bears in some state where they didn't want the meat or something like that. And I was curious on how common that is, because you've only told me in your experience.
Yeah. So one thing is, I'll unpack that in a couple different ways. The first way I'll unpack it, and I didn't know you were going to talk about this, so that's cool. The first one was the black bear thing. So we had someone that was actually going to be a sponsor was a sponsor for a very short time, and then we pulled away from.
Oh, that's right. I remember.
We
now.
pulled away from them, and the main reason was because they were talking about the fact, amongst other reasons, but they were talking to me about hunts that they went on for bear. And I was like, oh, what did you do with the meat? And they're like, oh, we don't eat them. You skin them out and you leave them. No one's going to eat that. And
What?
Yeah. Yep. I won't say who it is, but that's what they told me. And I immediately, I was so pissed that I didn't know how to be on the call. You know what I mean? Like, I'm video chatting and I'm like, you suck.
I have to go. I have to wash my hair.
Yeah, that was a big bummer for me. And then, as we navigate the industry, we do hear things like that. It's not very often you're going to see something with us that where we didn't eat it.
Right.
Even we just did some raccoon trapping, and we had to look up the laws and figure out exactly how to raccoon trap to get rid of them because they were destroying a barn, and how we could legally release them. And it had to be on the same property. You couldn't go over water, but you want to do it far enough away that they're just not going to get back in the same, in the same room that they were getting into. That way you can reinforce the room because eventually they'll probably find their way back. But get it in time. But we're not going to eat those raccoons, so I couldn't even bring myself to think of shooting them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting people down that need to get rid of nuisance raccoons and have to follow their laws and whatever they are because they pretty much beg you to shoot them. If you look at the way the law is written.
Yeah, and it's also different, like hunting for a raccoon versus coming upon a raccoon that's in a trap. They look real sad, and they look like robbers, but they look like they're real sorry.
Yeah.
That's like what you and I were talking about. Like, it just something doesn't sit right about like that animal is opportunistic, found the opportunity to find some food, and we're just gonna kill it and bury it. Like, it's a little like
Yeah. Now here's the thing. If those were deer that I was allowed to trap that were getting into stuff, then I'd shoot it and eat it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather not shoot something in a cage. It's why we don't do canned hunts in the first place. But I couldn't bring myself to just do that. You know what I mean? I'm too loving.
Or if you're going to eat it, then maybe okay. But I got to be in a mood to eat a raccoon.
We've done raccoon hunting where they were getting into farm fields and destroying them, and the farmers desperately needed us to because they're little jerks. I was gonna say bandits, but then it was gonna sound and come out as way worse, and then I bailed, and then I just sounded terrible. But anyhow, they were climbing up corn and snapping off the corn, and then climbing up, snapping off the corn, climbing down, for funsies.
Yep, weren't even eating the corn.
Nope. They might take a bite here and
Sure.
there. That was Jenks Pheasant Farm in Silverwood, Michigan. Good friends of ours. If you're looking to do a good training hunt for your dogs, if you don't mind your dogs going after pheasants, if I was going to go to a pheasant farm, and I go there. Good people and good eating pheasants, I'd say. So anyhow, we had gone hunting there, and we shot them, but we ate them and used the fur, and it's cool. It's like I just don't believe in wasting them. And I back to your point, I have a real problem with people that are out there like hunting because every single day we make a post, especially over the last 6 months, and I'm sure it'll ramp up again when we do our next season on History Channel. People just, you kill for the sake of killing and you trophy hunt and this and that. And when I hear people actually doing it, I'm like, you suck.
yeah.
You're what the problem is, and then you make me look bad doing things like that. And people are like, well, you wouldn't want to eat the bears in this area, and they got to be taken care of.
I want to know how true that is.
And it's not true.
There's no way. Every time anyone's ever said, "Oh, no one eats that," we've eaten it, and it's
Exactly.
been great. It's
Yeah.
all in
When we
how
were
you
in
prepare it.
When we were in Florida, Dave was saying that he got talked out of a bear hunt because the people that were going to take him out told him no because of their diet, the diet thing.
Yeah, and that is deer. Bear are significantly impacted by what they eat. So bears eating a bunch of dead salmon could have a fish flavor to them that wouldn't be as appealing. Then don't hunt those bears.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or learn how to cook it anyways, which is what we would do.
That's why I'm curious and how.
That'd be all about hunting those and then figuring it out. So I just don't.
Which is pretty much what we've always done.
The only exception that I could get into where it was like I killed something and I wasn't going to consume it would be if I killed it and then found out it had a disease or an issue of
Prairie dogs. I looked into a prairie dog hunt once.
I wouldn't.
And they
do it.
carry the bubonic plague.
Yeah, but they.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That you didn't know that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, they're not good for the. Yeah,
There was another
they're not
one.
good for nothing.
Squirrels and prions.
Squirrels.
Yep.
Squirrel brain.
Yep.
Which is a delicacy in the South.
What would be the legality of taking someone else's birds? Like you guys are coming into your truck at the same time?
That's not a bad point. Yeah, you
What-
could see
you
like
could
a
be-
DNR officer doing it to someone and be like, you're over here, man.
Right.
Like, no, someone gave them to me. Sure.
Yeah. I actually think it might be illegal to transport them. You're allowed to have a possession limit, though. It might depend on the days. You could put scenarios together. It's opening day. So your possession limit couldn't possibly be 12 ducks. It's still 6 because there was only one day that you could have harvested those 6.
Right.
So your possession limit would be kind of null and void. I never liked the possession limit law in the first place. I would be, I don't know. I'd want him to.
It'd put you in a weird gray
I'd be like-
territory.
I'd be like,
Yeah.
if you bring them to my house, if you transport them.
Yeah.
Because I think the transporting is what might make it not.
Yeah. Where's the line where it goes from your hunting limit versus your possession limit? I'm not willing to tiptoe
I
around
want to
it.
find out.
Yeah.
Especially with something that's federally protected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I will say this though. So as far as the legality goes, I think it's completely dependent on the state and the situation. As far as why it happens, AJ, with the duck thing, man, I don't know why people don't like eating ducks. I haven't quite figured that out. I know they just suck at cooking.
That's what it comes.
Well,
down to.
and even like nothing against Steve Rennell or anyone else, but a lot of these TV shows and stuff, they like get ducks and then they'll like breast out the duck right away and then cook it right away and then be like, oh, this is great. And like that day, you know what I mean? They're still bloody.
Oh yeah,
And
they
I-
don't do the thing.
And I know that they're not as good that way. I know that that's probably one of the worst ways to do it, right? But then they tell people it's good, so then people are like, oh, that's how you do it.
But that seems to be a common theme amongst outdoorsmen, where they're like, they don't look at if you got a bear or a deer, whatever the deer is what the deer is gonna taste like. That's it. Like there's no prep work. Like it
Right.
doesn't turn into like a culinary
Right.
like thing
Right.
where we find cool recipes and this and that
Yeah,
or
I've
whatever.
never had corned
They
goose.
don't do that. Or the pronghorn. How people say pronghorn's bad. Well, you didn't gut it and you let it sit in the back of your truck in 80-degree heat.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it's
what
not
it
going to
tastes like.
taste good.
Who shoots those and cuts the head off and then leaves it? You know, they have no idea how much great meat they're leaving behind.
Sure.
Yeah. Pronghorn's delicious.
It's very good.
It was great.
There's laws against it. You look at states like Alaska where wanton waste is really big. I could be wrong, but I believe it's a felony in Alaska to shoot a moose and not harvest all the meat.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Even if you hit it with a car or something, like there's like severe laws in place for that.
Yeah.
And I am typically anti-law in general.
Yeah.
But I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just you suck if you do that. You know what I mean? And there's something too is like we look at it like it's God's gift to us and this and that, and we're feeding our families and taking care of our own. To spit on that by leaving it behind makes you a certain kind of jerk. As far as the duck hunting goes, though, there is a unique thing in the waterfowl industry as far as people that like go out and hunt ducks and then they never want the meat at the end of the hunt. And me and Jeffrey are always like, okay,
Yeah.
stupid.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's duck specifically. And
Like,
I do believe because it's kind of like Timberdoodle where you better know what you're doing.
Yeah. And some people just don't want to clean them.
That's
That's lazy.
the word.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
Then don't
do it.
Oh, but you woke up at 3 a.m. and you hunted
Yeah,
for 6 hours, but you don't want to clean them.
And all it takes is like 2 good trips where you get a good number of ducks and then cleaning them. Now you know how to do it. Now it doesn't take you a long time to do it. Just practice some and then you're fine.
I'm a bit of a nerd with it now. I like doing ducks.
Yeah.
I like checking them out, seeing what they got going on, what they ate.
I just wouldn't have interest in it if it's like there's no reward at the end now. Like the reward for you is just
To shoot them.
shooting them.
Mhm.
Like
They kill just
like
to kill.
probably 60% of the fun is like getting to make the meal with it.
Do you have a rock candy cocktail?
I had a rock candy, but I didn't want to like sit here and be sucking on it while on the podcast.
So we put it in water.
But I had it in my mouth as we walked in, so then I just put it in my water here, and now it's just sitting there. It kind of looks like a kitty cocktail, kind of, but it's just water with it.
I just,
Rock candy.
The rock
tea.
candy doesn't make it into the water. It's just a holder because I didn't want to put it on the table. Would you prefer I put it on the table,
Yeah,
Ryan?
those are the only 2 options. Those are the only 2
going off
options.
the rails here
Yeah,
on
he's
this
freaking
one.
out. There's only 2 options: this cup or your table or your foot. But those are the only 3 options. The
You know what? Why don't you just turn around and bend over?
We already started the podcast. What do you want from me?
It comes in, the stick's dry, like all the candy's gone.
Oh gosh.
Hey, I've decided I hate that, and I hate anybody that takes out their gum and puts it anywhere while they're eating to put it back in.
Ugh.
Hey, he's
You're
dumping on me.
You're done with that gum. Don't.
Don't.
No.
Swallow it.
No.
Ugh. I'll buy you 74 packs if you just throw that piece
Specifically.
away. Yes. I'm not a fan. So we had some torrential downpours here over the last few days. Not as bad as what I can't stand him drinking that. Because look, the water's colored, which means it was in there at one point.
Oh yeah.
It was in there.
Yeah.
The water's gone down.
Yeah, you make me sick.
Tastes fine. It's like a LaCroix.
Yeah, it is.
Just a little bit of flavor.
LA Corona.
I hate those.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. Ugh, they just taste like someone burped a
They're
flavor.
so
in
mild they offend me.
it. They do. They do. I don't.
That's the new tagline.
Just bitter water? No, thank you. I don't like LaCroix. I like flavor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, ketchup, everything.
Yeah. At least there's flavor. The Greenway Outdoors is brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Savage Arms. Better comes standard. Nosler Ammunition. World's finest bullets, ammunition, and brass. Boss Shot Shells. Superior made and American made. Carlson's Choke Tubes, the only choke tube we've ever purchased. Onyx Hunt. Know where you stand.
The best way to connect with the outdoors is to get outdoors. From setting up trail cameras and tending food plots to getting to your spot before dawn. At every point of the hunting season, a Tracker Off-Road ATV or side-by-side can be counted on to get the job done. Enjoy American-made quality and the great outdoors without breaking the bank. Tracker Off-Road, built for the love of country.
If you want to be here, it all starts here. At Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, we have the widest selection of the quality brands you love to get you outdoors. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, our friendly, knowledgeable outfitters will help you find the right products for your next trip. Shop with confidence with our low price guarantee. Plus, club members save even more on great gear with exclusive member pricing. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, voted America's best outdoor retailer.
For every purpose, for every path, for every soul, for every season, there's a Ram.
We've had a lot of rough weather over the past week. Not nearly as bad as what they said it was going to be. What was the name of that hurricane? Beryl? Barrel? I read it as Beryl, so we'll go with that.
Yeah, I couldn't.
But
I don't know.
hurricane...
You would.
Yeah. Drink your LaCroix. So we were supposed to have like insane weather, I think, on Wednesday night, as far as like torrential downpours, and they were threatening flooding and all this sort of thing. And I'm a bit of a geek, so I was like, well, I know that this is the residual rain from the hurricane that took place, Hurricane Beryl, and it comes up, and then it still hits us all the way up in Michigan, which I've always found like kind of fascinating. Like, wow, got enough chutzpah to get all the way here.
Quite a
Good
system.
good for you getting all the way here. And when you look at the size of them, they're like the size of the country as they're going. It's pretty interesting.
Dang.
But in that, I was like, well, what happens? Like, is there anything different about that rain? And it turns out that there actually is. So inside those rain droplets, you've got moisture from Africa, the Atlantic Ocean, and the Gulf of Mexico all in one. And what's interesting is, first and foremost, is that if you're experiencing the rain from a tropical storm like that, you'll notice that the drops are much smaller, but there's way more of them in a close area. So like it rains more small drops as opposed to big ones spaced out. So that's one. And because of that, they actually had to change their settings on the radar because it would be misleading and make them think that there was far less rain than there was. So they actually have to like change the settings to be like, we're in a tropical area. This is a tropical storm. And it goes, oh, okay, then this is what is coming. So like, yeah, like the sensitivity had to be tweaked in order to give a good representation of what was actually coming.
They had to switch the gain on the radar.
Yeah,
right.
So I found that to be kind of interesting. And
Saturation.
That's for once it got to Michigan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's in general. A tropical storm, like the settings that they use in Florida or the Bahamas, is going to be different than what they use in Michigan.
Right. So, but once it got here,
We had to account for
we had to
it.
account for it.
Yeah, and it was like apparently Grand Rapids was reminding everyone, they're like, don't forget, you got to use the setting.
That's funny.
For whatever. That's what I was reading.
Interesting.
So they're smaller, like I said, and they show up later on the radar. And also, you'll notice during those storms that the sky will typically have a green hue to it. They don't actually know why. That's just the case. In addition to that, because it's pulling moisture from tropical environments, they actually carry more nutrients. The smaller drops and the way it works, the way it picks things up through the winds, it actually carries much more nutrients. So they're saying that like you may experience your plants getting like a Miracle Grow boost from that rain specifically. But with that,
an added tidbit is with that, those storms that come from Africa that like is the start of the hurricane, the ones that make it like over to Brazil and South America, that's what brings a lot of the nutrients to the rainforest.
Yeah.
It's part of that cycle that happens every year.
Yeah, there's something with
Will
that
Smith
too.
talked about it.
It's like volcanic ash from the other side of the world is the fertilizer that is used in the Amazon.
It's very interesting.
It like gets there every year, and if it didn't, no Amazon.
Thanks a lot, Beryl.
Because of something
Nice.
because of something
Beryl.
that happens on the opposite side of the world
It's pretty cool.
every year.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's a
The
small
other-
world after all.
Diatoms, I think is what it's called.
The other risk of it though is that pathogens can be picked up and then transported here, and the immune systems of the plants here have no idea what it is. So it runs rampant like AIDS when everything first kicked off.
Prion,
AIDS?
Yeah, plant AIDS.
Prion hurricane.
Yeah.
So, in addition to that, you'll probably notice too, and I think we did because obviously it's Friday now, and you're hearing this on Monday, hopefully, if you're a good fan. Then it would have been like Thursday, Friday. It was way muggy out.
Oh, it was.
Like
You're
super
right.
muggy,
Yeah.
and that is like what you experience in Florida from those tropical storms. So that's how that rain was actually different.
Interesting.
It was a lot of rain.
It did pour.
It did pour. It was
Yeah,
a lot. It was
I
like 3 inches.
I came into the office and AJ was checking the basement to make sure we didn't pick up any rain. We didn't though, right?
There was some. I couldn't figure out where it was coming from though.
I think that might have been from me at the washer.
Oh,
Yeah.
Was.
Yeah.
He floods the house.
I did it on the right day, so I didn't have to take the blame.
that's great. That is great.
I had to that John boat you guys just sold. I had to go pull the plug on it because Jeff put the plug back in it,
Oh yeah.
and it was full. It was full of water. It was a bathtub, and
What's
the
funny?
tires were all flat on the trailer.
What's funny is I put that plug in because I wanted to double check that it was still mostly good. So I put the hose in there and I ran some water, and then it didn't leak much. Perfect. And then I come in the next day. You're like, the boat was full. I'm like, oh no, I left the hose in there.
Oh, running too.
Forgetting that it rained the day before.
Yeah, it
Oh,
rained
thank,
real
thank
quick.
goodness.
Ooh, I'm gonna be in trouble. Yeah, actually, Jeff and I, what he's referring to is we had a 14-foot John boat that we've had since we were kids, and it was funny. We bought it for $200. We bought the motor for
$500.
$500 back in this is years and years ago. I mean,
2012 when we bought the motor, and then way before that for the boat.
the boat was probably 2009.
Yeah.
And it was a 1984. And
Montgomery Ward.
so all in on that boat and all in on the boat and motor, we were at $700, and we sold it yesterday for $800. So
Heck
we made money, and then we split it because back in the day when we were kids, we
So
split
awesome.
paying for it. So then we like split it back that we like made a profit.
Is
So-
the money still in the motor today? Like, is that what the guy was pretty much paying for?
Yeah, well,
Part of
it
the
was
combo?
we had the whole setup. I mean, we were tracker, we were tracker boats. We gave them a motor, a boat, and a trailer. So, but
Oh,
And
yeah.
that trailer was very nice. It had a new tongue on it, had a new jack stand, had a new winch, new wiring, new wheel bearings. It was decked out. We did that 2 years ago, and then didn't use it again, and then sold it.
the speed at which we sold it leads me to believe we underpriced it.
Oh, I
And
bet.
when you
I
pitched
bet.
me 800, I was like, good luck.
I know.
Yeah,
I thought
right.
the same thing.
Well, it's just because it had no value to me anymore because it's just sitting out there. You know?
But to me, we sold it. We made money, and then on top of that, someone else gets to carry it on.
I was worried about
Use
the
the
tires.
boat.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm still worried about the tires.
Okay.
But yeah, it sold a nice guy who happened to know Darren.
Yeah.
And Darren is the guy that we just got back from tuna fishing with.
Mhm.
Also, the nicest person ever.
The nicest.
He just likes fishing.
Yeah. The joke.
Yeah.
What was that?
I don't know it, and I
can't
can't
repeat
do
it here.
Can't do that joke.
No.
Which is funny because Darren is typically very G-rated, but he had a good joke for us.
It seems like he's the dirty joke guy.
Yeah,
But
he's the
But
guy.
it's always
takes the
surprising
mask off.
because he's like stereotypical dad.
right.
So it's always like, oh,
He doesn't.
okay.
He doesn't swear. He's very sweet.
Yep.
So we just filmed an episode I'm saying hunting for tuna.
Mhm.
So it was in Massachusetts. So
Gloucester.
in Gloucester.
Gloucester.
This will actually be an episode on the History Channel. So I'll start by saying that in just a few short months. The release date for our show on the History Channel, I'm just going to say it casually, is October 19th. And our premiere party, if you got to go last year, is in Auburn Hills, Michigan, at Bass Pro Shops and AMC Theaters. We're going to have wild game dinner again, live music from the Gasoline Gypsies again. We're going to have tons of prizes, even better than last year if you can count.
Nuts.
Yeah, the prize packages are a little bit bonkers. And then you're going to get to see 2 of our episodes from the History Channel in the theater there. It's such a fun night. We had 350 people last year, sold out of everything, and I'm hoping to be able to do that again this year. The link is in the description of this episode right here or in this post, depending on where you're seeing this video. But you can click there, buy your tickets, come out and hang out with us. But
It was a lot of fun.
yeah, the tuna episode will be one of the episodes on History Channel. And so we went out with Darren. Now, it's interesting because Darren actually lives in Michigan. He's from...
Mount Pleasant?
No, yeah, it's starts with
Claire?
a C.
no, it's...
Claire?
Concord?
Claire. Yes, Claire.
I think that's where he started, but he's on the water, like by the St. Clair River.
Linwood.
It doesn't matter. But anyhow, he lives in Michigan, near the St. Clair River, and we met him at an SCI event. Ryan and I did.
Yep.
And it was one that I was speaking at. He was there and had a booth. Came up to us, him and his wife, and they had matching Jesus fish shirts on. And we ended up just talking to him. And as you know, we get offered. I shouldn't say offered because that makes it sound like we're ungrateful. We're very grateful for everyone that writes into us and everybody that makes cool ideas for us and stuff. But this was one that we couldn't pass up. They said, hey, we do these tuna fishing charters. They're incredible, and we work with the people from Wicked Tuna, so it's right in Gloucester, Massachusetts. Dude, don't let me
all the lobster.
don't let me forget.
We'll
Even
just
if we
start
have to,
going on it.
even if we have to swear, bleep it out. But I want to do the story from the beach because it's so funny. It's like even if we have to bleep it, I want it in there.
Yeah.
But anyhow, it was in Gloucester, Massachusetts, and we met up with because he was talking about going out fishing. He's like, we catch these giant tuna, and the cool thing about the episode is there's kind of like this possible narrative that never really culminated in the show. I won't wreck it, but there's kind of 2 different ways you can do it if you're a tuna captain. So he can go out, and if you catch a fish, I want to say it was under 73 inches.
Something like that.
If it was under 73 inches, it's considered a shorty. Or a shorty is under 52 or 48. Under 48 is shorty. 48 to 72 is intermediate.
Yeah.
73 and above is trophy. So if you catch a trophy tuna, which they've caught him over 1,000 pounds, he's caught one this year that was 103 inches.
Mm-hmm.
They
Huge.
could
What?
But he got one that was 103 just last week.
Yeah. We got a picture.
Now, the thing about the tuna is I was like, well, what's the average poundage for like a 48 or a 72? Because can't do that. I've seen 80s that are so much bigger than 100s, you wouldn't believe it. It's just they could be fatties. They could be like Walmart at midnight, baby. You do not know what you're going to get dealt. You might get the biggest thing or the skinniest little thing. Isn't it one or the other at Walmart?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
one or the
yeah.
other. There's no average people walking around. You know what I mean?
Not at midnight.
What are you doing there?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I like to look around. Trying to be average. So anyhow, if you catch a fish that's over 72 or 73 inches and it's considered a trophy, by law, you have to sell it to market. You're not allowed to keep it. And this is Blue Fin Tuna.
Mhm.
And if you watch Wicked Tuna, you'll see people, and one of the guys and his wife from Wicked Tuna are in our show. We had a dinner with them, and they were telling us some stories about people losing hands and stuff, which is pretty wild. But if you get one over 73 inches, you have to sell it to market. You're not allowed to keep it as a commercial fisherman. So, and I don't think anyone can. You have to sell it. It gets sold, it goes to an auction, and then it's auctioned off. And like some fish are more valuable than others. They do almost like what you would call a core sample. Pull out the core sample and then determine based on the oil, the fat content, the quality of the meat, they'll kind of give it a score. And whatever the score is changes the value of the fish. And then the size obviously plays into account. You might think like, oh, bigger is better. And in some cases it is. Like getting a giant is incredible. Like some of them sell for like 50 grand or something like that, like really big ones. But at the same token, you look at that and you say, okay, only so many restaurants can buy a massive, massive, massive one because they got to be able to store all the meat before it goes bad and that sort of thing. And if it's sushi grade, you're dealing with all these different things of how you can prepare it, how long you can keep it. Sometimes they want it never frozen, and. So you kind of have to play the market of like what yours is going to be worth, and you really don't know until you get it in and they do that sample and weigh it and so on and so forth. And it goes to auction, and maybe the big buyers aren't there that day, whatever it is. It's just how it works out. And I asked him, like, what's a normal price, though? Because you hear about these 50,000 and 20,000 and 30,000. He's like, oftentimes out here, when we fish for them, we see a lot of 3,000 to 5,000s for a fish. And what's interesting is if you go out with him, his name's Darren Howard of Real Fishing Charters.
Dagwood. It's his nickname.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Real-
dodged that the whole trip.
Real respect.
Real Respect
Fishing
Charters. Yep. And incredible guy. What's his nickname?
Dagwood.
Who gave him that?
He said
High
that when
school?
he went to high school,
I
it was
remember.
like everyone got a nickname. No one has their name. It's a nickname.
I remember
His was Dagwood.
I was eating a mediocre Caesar salad when he said that.
Yeah,
At
that salad cost
Lobsterland?
$50.
At Lobsterland, yes.
Yeah.
So anyhow, that was a good dinner though. The fish that I got was the haddock.
We had so many good Caesar salads there. That one was probably fine. It just wasn't as good as the rest of them we had.
Yeah. We did have a lot of good Caesar.
We did.
I've been really into Caesar
On a
salads.
kick, yeah.
Me too.
I like them.
Yeah.
I like them better than other salads, that's for sure. You got to ask for extra croutons though.
Yeah.
I like the croutons you can get the fork into.
Yep.
They don't just break apart.
I agree.
What's the point
Yeah,
of them?
too
then?
crunchy. I can't.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to assign how much lettuce to
Correct.
crouton ratio if you can't get into it?
It's true.
But anyhow, if you'd have to sell it. So if you go out with Real Respect Charters and you book a charter with them, you got to pay, whatever the cost is, which is thousands of dollars because you're going out with them for a week, and you're going to see that a lot of boat captains out there are going to be anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a week. So he's going to be in that range because he's one of the very best.
Oh, yeah.
And the people from Wicked Tuna reach out to him to find out where the fish are. So this guy knows his stuff. Nicest human in the world on top of it. And so is his first mate.
Oh, yeah.
So we if you get one under 73 inches, you can keep one intermediate a day, and I think it was 2 shorties or 3 shorties a day, something like that. But if you catch one over 73 inches and you keep it, that day you are a commercial vessel and you are not allowed to keep anything but commercial fish. So everything has to be over 73 inches for that day, and I think you're allowed 2 or 3 a boat that day.
Yeah.
So it has to be big.
Yeah.
So if you catch a small one, an intermediate, or a shorty, then you're not allowed to catch a big one. So if
Yeah.
you did, you'd have to cut the line and let him go.
Oh,
And you'd
that'd
be
be
cutting
the
the line of $10,000, $20,000, something like that. It's best just to go in after you get your shorties. It's just
Just
best.
be done.
Just be done and just enjoy
your life.
the day. Go home and try to deal with it.
think about what could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's rough.
In the lead up to this trip, I was back and forth. I'm like, ideally, we'd get a giant one day and a small one another day, and then because I want to keep the meat, man. I want to eat the. Are you kidding me? Blue Fin Tuna? I want the meat.
Which is
Good.
that's the best of all the tuna.
But
$55 a pound.
Oh, wow.
but being able to follow it through the system
Mhm.
of the auction would also be really cool. So I'm not going to break for you what happened. You're going to learn a lot in that episode anyways. But in the planning, we were looking at our past experiences. And in our past experiences, we have often gotten seasick. AJ normally doesn't, but when he does, he really does. Jeffrey is a 50-50. I seem to be batting 1,000 now. I just get
Yeah.
seasick
It used
now.
to be 50-50 because I always joked that one of us would get sick
Yeah.
and the other one would make it happen.
Yeah. I was less supportive when you got sick.
I saved your life when you got sick.
Yes, you did. And then Ryan seems to get pretty sick lately too.
Yeah.
Now the thing about Ryan is he normally won't throw up, but that's like with anything. Like this kid's got a resistant lever in there that doesn't go because we all got the flu and he got the same flu and everybody was throwing up really bad and he always almost throws up, but he never actually lets it out unless he drinks a Baja Blast and then he barfs behind the garage.
Yeah,
Or
that's
McDonald's
like
fries.
while
McDonald's
mid conversation, like it's water.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like he will throw up over nothing, but he will fight it for the flu. We all decided that we had to figure out what we're going to do before the trip. So everyone got these, forgot the name of them,
Scopolamine.
Scopolamine patches.
Whole trip, he calls them Scopamine.
Scopolamine. It was scopolamine.
So we get these Scopamine patches. And I had used them before, but typically it was while going out scuba diving because when we were doing our exercises in Hawaii with the Patty Daddy, and he was like showing us how to scuba dive for our last classes. We were sitting on the surface, buoyant, and like you just every wave, and we were getting pretty sick from that. Go under, you're fine.
Mhm.
It was, geez, I want to go back. I just want to be under that water,
think
looking
about
at
it
those
every day.
reefs. Dude.
It was
Oh
so
my
awesome.
gosh! Even with the shark,
I
I
was
don't
talking
care.
about Kona yesterday with someone.
It was the best.
I can't wait to go back. Devin's been texting me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, they just got our hats. By the way, we sent them. Our buddies
Right.
in Hawaii.
Nice.
Good.
So we all get these patches. I had read good things. Roger, who's a doctor, told me that they were good. We all put them on. You put them behind your ear. You do need a prescription for them. They're not cheap. They're $12.75 a piece with my insurance, and I've got great insurance. So I don't know what that was.
I'd be curious to know.
The very
What's funny for me is that I was the only one who didn't get the patches. I got the pills, and the doctor that I saw said, with the patch,
it's your
you
50th podcast.
you might get a little lightheaded, so you're better off getting the pill.
Is it still the same thing, just in pill form?
No, it's something different.
Okay.
It's supposed to have the same effect,
Right.
but a little more lightheaded with
Comes
the
with
patch.
the site. Got
So I'm
it.
like, okay, I'll get the pill.
So I'm gonna preface it a little bit, and then I'm gonna give the floor to Ryan here. We get those patches, and I had posted on Instagram the patches after the debacle you'll hear about. And what surprised me was everybody was like, "Oh, I can feel how dry your mouth is right now. Oh God, did you survive it?" Everyone's saying all these horrendous things, but I had only ever heard good things.
End of the
before
world
trip.
patch.
Yeah. People are like, that's used as a date rape drug. If you ingest this many, you'll die. If you put this many patches on, it can kill you. Side effects, oh God, how dizzy were you? And then the common one that somehow no one mentioned before we started taking these was they're like, oh, so you lost your sight? What? You lost your sight?
Just temporarily go blind. It's fine.
So, Ryan, I'm going to let you take the floor on that. We all put the patches on.
Day
and then,
one.
And then,
Day one.
yeah, the night before, which is what
Oh,
you're
yeah.
supposed to do.
You're right.
And we woke up, I'm like, dude, my mouth has never been drier. I can't consume more water. I can't believe this. And I don't feel good. I'm not sick, but I'm not good. I'm just a little bit dizzy, maybe. My head, I feel like maybe I should take a Tylenol, but don't really know why. I'm just not good.
And you never can get enough moisture in your mouth. It's just
And yeah, and drinking caffeine, the first day didn't seem to matter. We got on the boat, and I'm like, I am horrendously tired.
Yeah, that's right.
My eyes are burning so bad, like to
Yep.
go to sleep.
Yep.
On the way out, while I'm drinking a Hero.
That's right. We napped. I totally forgot.
Which is wilderness athletes like caffeine. So I'm drinking 150 milligrams of caffeine, and I can't keep my eyes open, and I got 10 hours of sleep. What the hell is going on? And
we didn't get sick, though, the first day.
No.
It was weird,
Or
though,
any of the
because
days, really.
you could tell that you should feel sick. You're like, it's like the, oh, no, I'm going to be seasick, but then it just never happened.
Right.
But you're never good.
Yeah.
You're just, because it was rough seas.
We were on the back of the boat next to each other, croaked over, napping.
Yeah, me and AJ literally worked you go ahead and lean up against me.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and lean up
It
against
was
you.
that.
That way we got to sleep with our faces in the fish.
Nice.
So we'll start with, before we go into the next part of the podcast, we'll start with the Scopolamine. Go ahead, Ryan.
So day one, we have a good day. We didn't catch anything day one,
No.
but we had a good day.
Yeah.
It was pleasant.
We saw a lot of whales.
Saw a lot of whales. No one puked. It was really awesome. And then we're like,
Great day.
you know what? $12 is worth not throwing up.
Yeah.
we did say that.
I was singing it.
$12 a patch. That's
We're
worth
tired
it.
and pumped the first day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Day two, I wake up, got a dry mouth, just like everybody. And I'm like,
Yeah, and everybody's miserable, so you feel like there's no point in telling anyone you're miserable.
Mhm.
So we
Yeah.
all just don't talk about it.
yeah. So I mean, I'm having another side effect, and I don't realize I'm having a side effect yet until we're on the boat, we're out in the water, we're getting the camera set up, and I'm looking at
My
stuff.
favorite thing of AJ.
And me and AJ are like kind of separated from people, and I go, I cannot see this camera screen to save my life. Like I cannot see it.
He's like, couldn't focus.
I couldn't just. I'm looking at it, and it's just
nothing
not.
on it. Yeah,
It's
nothing
just
on it.
I can't get any detail.
Huh.
I'm like looking around,
You
but,
like close one eye.
but it's like really specifically the screen is like I cannot focus on it. I tell AJ, I'm like, I can't see the screen. He goes, I don't know what that means, and then walks away.
Keep filming.
I'm like,
Get the
Well,
shot.
Get the shot, loser.
Keep
Get
that
the
to
shot.
yourself.
and it was like that.
Keep that to
I
yourself.
was like, okay, I guess I'll shut up about it then. And then I'm going through the day, and I'm like, holy shit, I really can't see
I got to go to
anything.
the eye doctor.
I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I can't see anything. I did stay silent about it
You
pretty
did.
much the whole day.
You did.
So-
I would like to note, you didn't let on. Nobody knew, and you filmed the entire day. I noticed you weren't looking at the screen, but you were filming the entire day, and nobody said anything.
Yeah.
And I started. Was it the third day that I said
It
something?
was day 3.
Okay, so day 3 we get out. I'll jump in just to.
Yeah.
We're going out, and by day 3 I'm not feeling good, and I'm not knowing why. So I go out, and we're in the morning. I wake up and my alarm goes off, and I look at my phone, and I'm like,
4:30.
maybe my eyes aren't adjusted because it's 4 a.m. I don't want to be up. Blah 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 blah. So I get up, I go downstairs, and like my far-sighted vision is pretty much gone, but my close vision is really bad. So I have to find this middleman, and I'm often closing one eye, and I cannot see a screen. The TV was on, and it was like a screensaver. It was the Roku one, and I remember not being able to read Roku. I could just see movement of the thing bounce into the corners, and you're always hoping it lands in the middle, like in that one in the corner, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, huh.
There's something in this water.
So then we go out, we're fishing and stuff like that. Was it when we got in the car after the third day?
But you have to explain what Darren was having you do.
Oh, yeah. So we're out on the boat, and I'm not telling anybody.
We're all just silent about
That's
it.
a side effect of our humor. We all care about each other, but if you show weakness somewhere, you're gonna get it.
Yeah. The other thing is like,
I can't see, man. Shut up.
well, the other thing was
What am I, a doctor?
yeah, because we're in Gloucester. My whole thing was, I'm like, well, we got to film. So if I'm losing my sight, I'm going to have to get glasses when I get home. That's where I was at.
You jumped from no glasses to maybe you need bifocals?
Yes.
Bifocals.
Well, I was like, my parents, maybe it happened suddenly. I don't know. I'll deal with it when I get home, but I got to film and I got to be entertaining and I got to wake up. So Darren gets me, and I'm getting to the point now where like, it was a really rough day. The third day, we're rocking really hard. And, Darren wants to show me how to bait the hooks and like the setup of the stuff. And I think AJ wanted to film it. Like he was like, and I was like, yeah, okay. And I'm in the captain's chair and I'm like laying down and he's like showing me, and I am like acting like a arrogant high school kid that doesn't care what his parents are saying. but I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm so out of it, but I don't want to say I don't feel well because then he's going to worry. It's going to start a whole thing. Yeah, I'm just like, if I ignore it, it's not real. So he wants me to focus on the inside of the boat on how to tie this hook, and I can't see it.
You got to crimp it. It's a whole deal.
I can't see it. So I'm listening to him, and he's having me do it, and I got to put the line through this hole back through the crimp, and I freaking cannot do it.
You know what's funny is I didn't know this was happening at the time, but he's having, okay, do the middle one. No, you got to get it on the middle one. And I wasn't looking. I was fishing for bait fish off the front. And the whole time I'm thinking, wow, that's got to be really hard. If he's having a hard time and he's messing up on it 2 or 3 times, I never went back to see what he was doing. But I'm like, man, that must be hard, huh?
If it makes you feel any better, I didn't see what I was doing either.
What's funny too is I was kind of witnessing this happening, like, wow, he's really not getting this. And
normally he's pretty good. This guy's an idiot today.
And I was still not putting it together that I'm not seeing. He's clearly not seeing, like, because we hadn't talked about it.
Still did better than average, I'd say, but okay, you know.
And so finally, like
we get back in the car day 3 when we're all done. It's like maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon because we've been out since 3 a.m.
And we're trying to get directions, and he goes, Jeff, just get directions. I can't see my phone. I'm like, I am so glad you said
you were
that.
in the back seat. That's right.
Because at this point, I just stayed silent, not said a word.
Leave it to AJ.
He happened to
God knows what was in his system counteracting this.
Are you blind? Me too.
I'm like, dude, me too. I can't see my phone. I can't see anything.
And it's so funny because now when I posted that patch, they're like, so you lost your sight? I'm like, how did no one tell me? I told everyone in the world that I got those patches. I've interacted with tons of people, even the scuba diving course, everybody. No one says it.
No one
as soon as
says
everyone's
anything.
like, yeah, you lose your sight.
It's one of 18 side effects, so you look over it because everything has those side effects that don't happen.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I'm not going to get them. We got it, dude. Blind as a bat we were. So then I'm like, okay, well, now what do we do? You know what I mean? Because we still got one more day or whatever, but I think we just toughed out the last day. No.
We took a break day.
We took a break day because of the weather.
Yes. We get in that night, and we've now realized that we're having all these side effects because of the patches. So I took mine off because we weren't going out the next day. And I was texting Jenna about it, my wife, who's a nurse. And I'm like, we were taking these scopolamine patches for seasickness, and we had these crazy side effects. Like, I can't hardly see right now.
Were you doing voice to text? Because
you can, like, if you went, like, you were able to, like,
you
could described it really well.
My thing was closing one eye.
Where like how it looked like like it was colored along the font, like a text or whatever. It had like that fuzzy,
it was just
holographic look.
Yeah.
Imagine looking through a like plastic sandwich bag.
Imagine if you did an electric ladybug, and then you notice that's from Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I was
It is.
texting my ER nurse wife, and she's like, "Oh, really? Like, that's actually a pretty scary drug." I'm like, whatever. Like,
right.
Sure. Like,
everything's dangerous.
Yeah, we're having this weird side effect, whatever. Like, shut up. Like, I just kind of blew it off.
You're just as bad as him. Only a nurse is telling you.
You're doing it to yourself.
I know. I had already taken it off, so I'm like, I'm fine. I'm like, it's good. I got rid of it. So I'm going to get better now. Well, we get up the next day, and we're like, let's go get breakfast. Let's enjoy this day.
Yeah, we were going to have a beach day. Was it your birthday? Yeah, we were celebrating. Was it yours or Jeffrey's?
It was the day before his birthday.
It was the day before my birthday.
That was going to be your birthday day because the next day we were going to go fishing again.
Yeah. And
I'm just kidding.
Let's talk about the restaurant you picked first.
Uh-oh.
They said they had food.
I wasn't going to say
and I can't be at blame for anything. I was messed up.
That's all I'm going to talk about.
So I picked an Italian place that had cannolis and
That's
it.
That's it.
No.
You said it.
The website.
Oh, they had ice cream too.
The website said they had more. Well, let's go get McDonald's again.
We haven't eaten it once.
Anyhow, so we get into Gloucester, and we finally find a parking spot. And on the way there, I'm like, I'm not feeling too great.
So we're going to brunch, by the way. Well, we thought we were going to brunch.
And I'm like, I'm not feeling too good.
Ryan had 2 curveballs up his sleeve to make sure that didn't happen.
And
if he survived the drive, we're going to have to eat at a shithole.
I wasn't saying anything. I didn't say anything the whole drive. I'm like, whatever. I'm fine. We'll just get there and we'll eat food.
We're just listening to our Blink-182.
Yeah.
No
Yep.
trouble in the world.
And then the walk from where we parked to the place was
150
like
yards.
150 yards. No, it was like outside while we were crossing the road out front of the
Yep.
place. I'm
Yep.
like, what did I say? At this point, I'm
No,
like,
you walked up to the door, and I looked in. I go, "This isn't a place." And then you just sat down.
There was a chair out front, and he just kind of goes,
Yeah, and I go,
"Oh."
"This place doesn't have food," and like you're just like, "I don't feel good." No wonder you.
And it
brought
was
us
like,
here.
"Oh," and it was like a what? And then he goes, "I'm gonna pass out."
We thought it was guilt because you picked such a stupid choice.
well, yeah. Let's talk about when we went on the wild goose chase in the middle of winter in the Montana mountains for a key that got thrown in the bed of
We've
the
already
truck.
talked about that on the podcast.
Touche.
If you're going to talk about anything, this was your time to talk about the shower I wanted in New Orleans. No, not. Oh, that sounded really bad. No. I just
Said no to, say no to one shower with them.
we wanted to shower, so we were looking for a place where we could, and I thought we'd stop at like a truck stop or something because we were in such a dire straits. But took us on a wild goose chase, killed half the day, and I never did get a shower.
Nope.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we're sitting outside of a Italian
Bistro cafe.
Yeah, you probably don't remember the
cannoli
rest.
restaurant, and that's all they
Not
have.
really. I
Until they
remember
brought 'em
sitting there
back.
like this and someone trying to shove a cannoli down my throat.
So
You needed to eat. That's
So
what
It
we're-
was really hot out.
we're
so-
walking in.
it's your people's food.
He's trying to see if there's actually food. He's sitting on a random chair in front of the place, just sitting there going, "Here I go. I'm gonna pass out. Here I here I go.
There I went.
Oh God, oh guys, I'm gonna pass out. Here I go." He just kept doing it over and over again, and I'm waiting for like, here he goes, and then he's gonna, and it just never happened.
Ow.
Jeff was
I-
gonna RKO you.
RKO.
As
Nice.
he
I
falls
was doing
out.
my best. I'm like, I'm positioning myself in the chair so I'm not gonna like crumple over onto
Yeah,
the concrete. And I'm warning people in case I do.
No one's helping.
And well, AJ did. I was like, dude, like give me that water, like pour it on me. And then Kyle's like, you need to eat the cannoli. I'm like, dude, I'm not eating the cannoli right now.
I
He
thought you
weighs
were
100
overheating
He weighs 102 pounds. Hadn't eaten in
that day.
hadn't eaten in
That day.
20 hours.
Yeah.
Refuses to eat food
All he
or
had
drink
was
water.
a Starbucks Frappuccino.
Yep.
I'm looking through pinholes, and you're like, you gotta eat, man. You gotta get
Eat
some
this
food in ya."
cannoli. You did this to us. Now
And I'm
you'll
like-
eat it.
In
Like
retrospect,
this.
that was
And
probably
I
right.
do remember someone. No, and I do remember
All
someone.
right, you had cancer. Sorry. Yeah.
that would have never happened if I had never taken scopolamine.
Of course.
100%.
Of course.
Would have never ever happened.
Sure.
Also, I won't go there. I do remember someone saying like, "Oh, his color." Like someone's like, "Your
It
color's
was
gone."
Jeff.
Oh yeah, all of a sudden you just went from like kind of pinky whatever to just very pale, and it was sudden. And that was like after the second or third time you thought you were going to pass out.
It's just crazy that
felt
this is
so
for
bad.
motion sickness, and it's like, listen,
No one
motion-
said anything.
Motion sickness is the worst feeling, but you're getting the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh as side effects. You know what I mean? It's like, so I got to go get the truck, which is really close. Like I could throw a
Oh,
baseball
yeah.
to it, but it's a one-way street,
Mhm.
and it's very Gloucestery to get back around, and I'm rushing.
Narrow road.
Trying to get back because we're gonna throw him in the truck and take him to a clinic.
Mhm.
So while I'm looking for a way to get back around you guys, I'm hitting traffic, and it's like any downtown.
I was like, where is he? There was
Yeah.
a
How
point.
much time went by?
It was probably 12 minutes.
Yeah,
It's
something
like
like
9,
that.
20
Yeah.
minutes.
I ran to the truck and drove fast, but I had to go so far around to come back around to be able to get to you guys, and you weren't gonna walk the 150 yards
couldn't.
back. So this was the play.
Yeah.
I literally ran to the truck because I was scared. So I get there. Finally, we load him into the truck, and he's like laying in the back seat. And I'm pushing food on him. Food's always the answer.
You guys both think cannolis is enough for food. It's not. We need more stuff.
No, I gave him a Wilderness Athlete protein bar.
I did
Yeah,
start.
that's true.
I did try like.
He did have a bite of that. Maybe.
Yeah, I
20%.
tried to film it to plug him. Brings him
Wow,
back from the
you
dead.
suddenly feel better.
So he's eating a protein bar kind of in the back laying down, but not really. He took maybe a bite or two. I hadn't eaten yet, by the way. And then we go.
And I'm
And
not
now-
making a fuss.
And now he's eating my protein bar. Freaking dog. Won't eat the cannoli, though. So then we go to, I find
Urgent care.
Urgent care.
care, yeah.
And to me, that seemed like the perfect thing.
Yeah.
It's urgent. We need care.
We brought him
Minor
in.
care.
Where I explained his entire situation, and they're like, "We can't help you. You got to go to the hospital." I'm like, "Come on," because now I'm thinking we're gonna get hit for bills and everything else.
That's the only thing I was thinking of.
I know he's got good insurance, but I'm like, "Come on." So they give him an ice pack and send us on our way. So then we.
Very nice of them, though. They didn't take him back first, which a lot of places do. They'll take you back and then say they can't see you, but
Yeah.
they'll still charge you for it.
Yeah.
That's right, Jeff.
So we load him up in the truck, and then we haul to the hospital. As soon as we pull up, Jeff runs in, grabs a wheelchair, and he's in and out of consciousness at this point.
Hospital was pretty helpful, though.
Yeah,
Only
except the
because of
check.
the symptoms I said.
Yeah, the check-in was not helpful.
Yeah.
So I'm answering all of his all the questions that they
blind.
had and stuff.
He's blind.
Like, what? He's losing his vision. There he goes. So we finally get taken into the ER. We get met with the nicest nurses. That were there. You couldn't see, but they were pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we got to not that I.
Well, they were asking what my symptoms were. Like, I was the first one brought back.
Yeah.
What, like, there was
an urgency to their.
Well, I was
considering.
like, I don't feel right in my left. I don't feel correct in my left arm, and I feel like chest pain pressure.
So they pull out the defibrillator, and I'm just
No, it was enough to be like.
Well, you
could
had
be
also
something.
said your left eye hurt, your left
That-
arm hurt, your left chest hurt, and they're like, "Oh, well that could be a stroke. That could
so
be."
if you ever get like a sliver or something, and you're in the ER. The quickest way to get back there.
True.
So we get them into the back, and they start asking a bunch of medical questions. The worst thing you want to do when you feel like you're going to pass out is start answering questions and lose a bunch of blood. So they start drawing his blood and ask him questions.
I was very, very grateful that you were there. I was like not ready to answer.
Yeah.
those
So
questions.
I know his height, his weight, his they're like, and it's funny too. They go, do his parents have any kind of medical issues? I go, and he goes, no. I goes, well, his dad does have seizures now and then. He had to quit his work. So, and then I'm going through, and I give his height and weight. Everything's perfectly accurate. It doesn't matter. They ask a million questions. I know every answer. And she goes, so I assume you guys are together? I go, oh, no. We're just good friends in like a non-weird...
co-workers.
I go, no, we're friends in like a non-weird way. And thank God they all had a sense of humor.
funny.
They laughed at that because I asked if we were gay. And I was like, no.
Not again.
No.
The doctor came in and asked, pretty much assumed the same thing.
Yeah.
And he
We don't judge.
basically does the same bit, and at the same time I go, we're lovers.
He comes to make a joke.
So they go through the whole thing. They do all the blood work. You can pick it up from there. You're awake.
They do blood work.
And now we're watching Too Fast, Too Furious in the hospital.
Yeah. Tokyo Drift.
That's
And,
when what's his name calls him Cuh. He's like, I told you I don't want to talk about it, Cuh. I don't think he was supposed to say that.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, he says it to Tyrese.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So they take my blood. They ask me a million questions. The doctor comes in and asks more questions. And then they take me to an MRI machine and scan my head. And then we sit there for a while.
They also did X-rays
Yep, they did x-rays too.
in the room. The girl started backing up. I go, what are you backing up for? Because she didn't tell me to back up. So I
Radiation.
backed up with her. Hey.
Where's the lead
She
vest?
goes, you're fine. I go, why are you running then? And she goes, well, I do it all day.
So then we sit there for like 2 hours on the main floor, and then eventually they bring me up to the next floor, and we sat there for 5 hours.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
And
They did have Men in Black on upstairs, which helped.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Too fast.
they did not do
Serious.
one thing for me. No IV fluid bag, no ibuprofen, nothing.
I would have done the fluids.
No, he came in. He
100%.
didn't eat yet today. He's feeling lightheaded. Give him something. Do something.
Yeah.
Did they do anything other than tests?
Nope.
No.
Other than that,
Nothing.
you just sat there.
Yeah.
They did.
They made sure I wasn't dying and then left me alone.
They brought him dinner 38 seconds before we left.
Yeah, they did.
What?
Yeah.
I brought him dinner twice by then.
Yeah, we did.
And I hadn't eaten either. When we left there, it was 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so hungry.
Yeah, things started we started the day at like 10:30, 11.
I'm getting a headache.
We
thinking
get
about
it.
how
You
hungry
also
I was.
felt bad.
Yeah.
Jeff and I went to the bar and had a beer.
We did.
And then
I don't blame you.
they wanted me to stay overnight to do the
Oh, yeah.
what was the
that's
next
right.
test?
So, yeah, let me
Stroke
go
test,
through it
wasn't
real
it?
quick. Yeah, basically. I think the MRI is what you didn't get, and they wanted to send you a place to get an MRI. Pretty
I
sure.
don't think so. I think the other one was a CAT scan.
Could have been.
I thought they did the CAT scan and wanted to get you. It doesn't matter.
Regardless,
We were
it was a
surprised they
crazy
didn't have
scan.
the machine there.
Yeah.
And so that because they didn't have that machine at that hospital, it was at the other hospital. They basically came back and said, listen, your blood work is perfect. Everything is perfect. You're extremely healthy.
You're perfect.
It's got to be the it's Scopolamine.
Hey, good job. Buddy.
Thank you. It's got to be that. So I thought this might get broken into a TikTok, so I figured I'd do it right. It's got to be the Scopolamine. So because of that, we have to double check that it's not a stroke. It's very unlikely it's a stroke, but we'd like to do an MRI to see if it was a stroke, and all of that. But we don't have an MRI here, and we won't be able to take you to our sister hospital until tomorrow morning. So you have to stay the night. We think there's less than 1% chance you had a stroke, but because of the symptoms you said, we think you may have. And I'm like, he didn't have a stroke. He did not have a stroke. His mom. But the problem was neither his mom nor his wife being an ER nurse, wanted to tell him, you didn't have a stroke. Go home. You're fine. Because what if he did? Then they're the bad guy. So they're scared. And he's
One of the
relying on them for information to make his decision. And then I was like, dude, they still expect you to be the man. You got to make the choice. And he's like, okay, forget this. I'm not staying. And he signed himself out. Well, then it got scary because then they come in and they go, okay, it's against doctor's orders. You're signing yourself out. And we're like, how's this going to affect insurance? So then we had to call, figure out the insurance and be like, hey, if we leave and check ourselves out of the hospital against doctor's orders, will you still cover everything that we did up until that point? And they're like, yeah, we love when you do that. Just don't die. No, I'm just kidding.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And so then we found out it was fine, and then he signed out. Now it's like 5:36, and I started force feeding him. I took him in Insures every 2 hours and then checked on him all night long to make sure he was alive still.
Yeah, we got you chicken tendies. And...
Yeah.
I fed him in bed.
Oh God! So AJ and I go get food.
Not in the same bed.
We still don't know what's going to happen, when you're going to be done. I think at that point we had just gotten word that maybe you needed to stay overnight. We got to go get food. So him and I go get food. We have a beer at the bar while we're waiting, and we're sitting there, and I'm like, you know what?
Root kids.
I know that we've been on your phone talking to Jenna, but Jenna's also an ER nurse, and she's panicking. I don't know if she has relayed this to anyone else. I'll call someone.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
So I look through my phone, and I find your dad. I'm like, oh, I don't remember getting his dad's number, but I have it. Perfect. I'll call him. I call, it rings. He goes, hello. I recognize his voice. I'm still, I'm calmed down. I'm not panicked, but I'm like,
This is great.
I'm not thinking about it all the way through. I'm like, he'll recognize my voice, and he probably knows what's going on. Hey, have you talked to Jenna at all? And then there's just silence. And he goes, mm-hmm. I go, have you talked to Jenna? He goes, who is this? Like, you think I said Jenna? You think he would know? But no, he's like, who is this? I go, oh, sorry. This is Jeff, Greenway Outdoors. He goes, oh, okay. Hi, Jeff. I go, Ryan's in the hospital. Have you heard? And he goes, oh, yeah, I saw something about that. Like,
Okay.
okay, well, so then
Anyways.
then I give him the details, and then I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I just wanted to make sure you guys knew. He goes, all right, cool, thanks.
He goes, ask him if he's got my $30.
It was just, I was not expecting that to be the phone call. And then later he texted me, he was like, hey, thanks, for letting us know. I really appreciate it. It's like, okay, great.
He didn't say punch me or something.
I won't call you again.
All in all, though, then we got home, and the symptoms persisted for like a week on him.
Yeah, it took me a while to feel better. And I went and did a checkup with our family doctor. He's like, he looked through all my blood work and everything. He's like, you're good. The same thing happened to my daughter, and it took her like a week or two to feel better from this.
Jeez.
So that's our warning on those patches.
It's not a hobby. It's an obsession. So plink on with rimfire rifles from Savage, where better comes standard.
The Greenway Outdoors is brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's,
Your adventure starts here. Savage Arms, Nosler Ammunition, Bosch Shot Shells, Wilderness Athlete, fuel for the rugged, Tracker Boats, fish the finest, Eagle Fishing, designed for the savvy angler, Rufus Teague barbecues, snacks, and spices, Rectech Grills, it's more than a grill, it's a way of life, Sea-Doo, make your own waves, LEM Products, motivating people to hunt, process, and prepare their own food, Quiet Cat, the leader in electronic bikes for hunting, fishing, camping, and exploring. Consistency. That's what you aim for with every practice shot. So when you're out in the field, you get that same consistency every shot. With Carlson's choke tubes, consistency is what you'll get. Our choke tubes are long-lasting, high quality, and made right here in the USA. Carlson's choke tubes, pattern tested, hunter approved. Find out more at choketube.com.
Are you anxious to get going? Knowing that the clock is ticking and time truly is the most precious commodity in the world? Then you, my friend, are in good company.
I'm going to try Jeff's pill for when we go out and film for Sea-Doo. In the Great Lakes, we got to go like 30 miles offshore to Stannard Rock.
Standard. Yep.
Standard. There's
Not
no D.
Not standard.
It's not.
Standard Rock Lighthouse, the most like lonely place on the earth, apparently, because it's 30 miles off, and people have to stay or used to have to stay at lighthouses to keep them going, and they'd stay there for like 6 months and have no phones, no nothing.
It's that lighthouse that's just sitting on a
just
rock
in the middle
Yeah,
on
that
a
thing's
rock.
cool.
We're going there.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, but I'm going to try the pill that time.
Yeah. I'm gonna do nothing.
Nothing.
Oh, really?
I
Just throw
I
up?
would rather puke
Just throw
than
up.
feel that again.
Yeah.
It was awful. It felt so bad.
I'm going to keep drugging myself, see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, so while we were there, the first night we got there, Darren, again, the nicest guy. By the way, Darren went up to the hospital and sat with us
Mm-hmm.
while we were waiting, which is, the guy is just an
Sweetheart.
angel. So if you are going to book a trip, booking a trip like out of the country or out of the state is so strange for people because if you have a bad experience, like you're not at home, you can't go to your home hospital if you're taking scopolamine, like it's weird, right? You're not in your home situation. I will tell you first and foremost, Real Respect Charters, going with Darren, like the guy went to the hospital with us. We went out to dinner with him every night. We wanted to spend time with him. His daughter was there. She was fantastic and helped with everything. His first mate's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's so nice. I would trust.
was awesome.
I would trust sending my family there without me there.
Oh, no question.
Especially the other thing is like you hear about all these creeps and stuff. Like people want to book trips. You could 100% send your wife or daughters or a girl's trip or something out with him and be safe
Oh yeah.
and nothing weird. I just highly recommend him. So
Yeah.
for safety, security, that he's so over the top with all the safety precautions he takes because it's dangerous.
Mhm.
I mean, we went to a monument while we were there of the thousands and thousands of people that died. Literally, was it 5,000?
Something like that, yeah.
6,000, something like
Just
that.
that they've recorded.
Yeah.
Fishing for this fish
Mhm.
on these waters. It's just very dangerous. So anyhow, trust him. But the very first day, he had like this whole town gathering at his place, and everyone made a dish to pass except for us, but we didn't know. And the food was amazing,
Yeah.
and they had all kinds of stuff from meatballs and
Thrasher
sausage.
shark.
We ate shark, walleye. I mean, the cookies were so good.
Mhm.
There was these cookies that are shaped like fish that I really liked, and I'm not a
Fish
sugar
flavor,
cookie
too.
guy.
Yeah.
I'm not did you ever have one?
Yeah, they were good.
They were great. But they just had this huge spread out for us. The people from Wicked Tuna were there. We did a cool talk with them. I think that'll turn out well. I like that scene a lot, and the way that we did it, the way that we filmed it was really good. The fishing was epic. I think the coolest part about the actual fishing on the episode wasn't even catching the tuna. The whole time you're like fishing for bait fish, and you're trying to set up over bait. So you have these rods that you go like weight all the way down the bottom, and you're trying to catch mackerel and herring and things like that. But in that, it's like you're using a Saviki rig, which is a big weight at the bottom and just flies. sticking up, maybe 7 of them,
Mm-hmm.
sticking off it. You go all the way to the bottom and you bounce it. The flies are enough to get the attractant, and you're getting fish. If you're over them, you're getting them right away to the point where, like, you get the first one, and Ryan started doing this, and he keep jigging, even with one on, to try and get more on.
And it worked.
See how many you could bring up.
It worked. You brought
Well,
up, what,
it did.
5 at one time?
I brought up 7. I went 7 on all. I went 1 on every fly, though, and I didn't do that. It just
Happened.
by the time
All
the weight,
fish.
yeah, by the time the weight got to the bottom, all 7 had hit.
It was
And
pretty fun.
It was mackerel. But what was really special about that, and I never got one, you guys got a lot, was haddock would
Oh, yeah,
randomly
yeah.
bite too. We were catching mostly, what was the
Whiting.
whiting, which is an okay bait from what we're told.
Mhm.
Mackerel is better,
Mhm.
and herring is the absolute best.
But we didn't catch one.
We didn't catch a single herring. We caught a lot of mackerel, and we caught the fish. We caught the tuna. We had
Couple headaches.
what, 4 hits on tuna?
Think so?
Yeah.
4 total hits, all on mackerel.
Mm.
But anyhow, the haddock, you guys were getting them like this big.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
mean,
some decent ones.
and it's so weird because you're just not expecting to catch a giant fish on that thing, and you don't know whether it's a big fish
or a
bunch-
lot of fish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or a lot. And I'll tell you, the entire time you'd have that down for maybe 10 seconds and have a fish on, and then you bring it up and you'd see what it was, and you add it to the bait bucket, or or if it was a haddock, you'd put it in the fillet bucket, and it was just
We got to the point where we started getting picky. We're like, that just looks like a big group of whiting. We'll wait.
yeah, because you were gonna catch them every time. But that was to
It was
be
fun.
chilling out there on the front of the boat. We saw dolphins, we saw whales, and some of the footage we got of those whales just slapping their tails, and just the excitement of the entire time
They
when we weren't
said-
throwing up or dying.
Yeah, they said that the whale out there, like they you see them where they come up for food or they slap their tail once. There were several times where they're like, these whales are, I think they're playing.
Yeah.
They're just sitting at the surface. I've never seen that before. It's, well, we're getting it on camera.
And speaking of getting things on camera, the third day, I think, when my site was fully going, AJ and I had decided the LED light looks so cool in the thing. AJ and I decided that, okay, let's bring our scuba equipment out. We're going to make sure that we're going to dive in and try and get footage of the tuna fighting for real, because every schmuck has the GoPro footage or whatever. We want, right by the boat, and that's it. We wanted to go out and get the fish fighting. A ways out, there were some safety concerns. Number one, the line cutting us in half was a concern, because a real big fish is going to go running, and that line is going to go where it's going to go. So people are like, you cannot do it. We're like, we're doing it. And Darren made us feel a lot better. He's like, you can do it. You can do. We'll figure it out. We'll make it safe. And that's what's cool about him. A lot of the safety people are just annoying. He's not. He's like, we'll figure it out. We're just going to do it right. So anyhow, Jeff hooks up on a fish. That's all I'll say. And I had already got one. Well, that's too much. So Jeff's got a fish. So me and AJ, Ryan's already in a danger zone, kind of. But
I'm really glad I didn't go in now. That would have added a whole new because they asked.
You weren't going.
No, I wasn't. I was like, we're talking about 200 foot of water. You can't see the bottom. And this is like great white territory. And we are pulling in a bloody fish.
Yeah. Not only
Not
that,
for me.
so me and AJ being like how we are, and we go to the scuba shop, and Ryan's asking this 300-pound lady who's been in the water twice everything we need to know about scuba diving. We don't know anything. Please rent us your tanks. But so we're teasing him. But anyhow, we're gonna go out there. Ryan's gonna film up top, getting Jeffrey bringing in the fish, and then me and AJ are gonna bite the bullet and go in the water, which we're kind of excited for, thinking it's gonna be like Hawaii. So we're getting ready and everything like that, and AJ has to transition a camera into a safety situation because you can't set nothing down on this boat because everything's rocking. So AJ's got to put camera equipment away. He's dealing with mics. He's dealing with camera issues. He's dealing with... So I get ready, and I'm faster at getting ready in scuba gear. So I get all my stuff on. He's still just getting his wetsuit on. So I'm like, all right, give me the GoPro at least, and I'll swim out. I'm just going to drop in. So you are so far from anything in this world when you're out there that you have no understanding that you're moving. And we have the anchor up because we have a big fish on. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to get in the water. Don't be a wimp. And Darren's daughter comes to me. She goes, I just want you to know this because I'd want someone to tell me, but look at the radar. And there's a big screen right there in the back of the boat. She goes, you see that right there? That is for sure a shark on the radar thing. And I'm like, all right, give me the GoPro. And I'm
It's
like,
at 110 foot down, and we're in 120 foot of water, so it's pretty close to the bottom. It probably won't come up.
that bloody tuna won't entice it at
Yeah.
all. So I'm like, all right. So I back in. As soon as I hit the water, the boat's gone.
Yep.
Because it's moving fast. And I don't know that until I'm in the water and the boat's leaving. And I put my mask on. I'm like, all right, you're all right. You're all right.
Dude.
I look down because the boat's just going away. And I'm out there by myself. And you get a real weird feeling as that boat goes away.
I hate that so much.
I know. So
You only have, what, like maybe 20 foot visibility, if that?
no, that was so. I put my mask on. I put my face down in the water to. My first thought is find the shark, so I can keep tabs on him. I look down and it's nothing more than maybe 10 foot of visibility, and then it's just that grayish, greenish, brownish swirls of light that just do this.
Yep.
But you can't see anything beyond it. And I'm like, oh, shit. And I like, dude, a rush of fear comes over me, like I haven't had in a while. And I'm like, all right, where's that fish? You know what I mean? Let's figure that out then. Let's get this over with, because I'm not. And they're like, we're going to, Darren goes, the wind's pulling us. We're going to have to circle back all the way around and get you. He's screaming from the edge. I go, no, don't do that. I go, just stay.
Please just come get me.
I said, stay here. The boat makes me feel like I'll be okay. AJ's not in the water yet. So I go, okay, put my regulator in. I go, come on, be a man. Let's get this. You want the shot nobody else has this. So you got to do things that other people won't do. I hear Goggins in my head. I got my knife clutched in the other hand, and I go down. I find the fish. I've never seen the footage. I get what I think is pretty good footage of it down there. Jeff has got on the line, and it's already losing a little bit of its chutzpah. So I'm like, oh, shit. So I want to get down there now. I don't want to wait for AJ because the chutzpah could be gone, meaning like he's been fighting for an hour. So it's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I get up to it, and it starts doing some moves and stuff, and I got to get pretty close to it because I can't see that far. So the camera definitely won't see that far. So I do that or whatever else, and I go in, and I come up, and I'm like, okay, where's AJ? And I see he's starting to work his way to the back of the boat. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to haul over there. And I'm like, just drive back. They're like, we can't because the tension line. I go, just drive back to me. So they do. And then I go up to AJ, and I go, give me the camera so AJ can drop in. So they give me the big camera with the big underwater rig with our high-quality camera equipment in it, floating around with $12,000 in my hand. And Ryan's yelling, don't drop it. Don't let go. And I'm like, I won't. So then I go, and I grab that camera while AJ's getting situated, and I go down and get some cool shots of the fish. And then I give the camera to AJ, and AJ's like, should we sink down? But the fish is like at the surface, so there's not really much of a point, and the visibility's so shitty, he didn't know that yet. So then he kind of sinks down and gets some shots of it. And all I can think about now is I've been in the water for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and all I'm thinking about is that shark. And I'm like losing touch with what I should be doing scuba diving. And I'm like coughing. I like got water in my mouth somehow, so I don't know what I was doing or whatnot. I'm like, all right, I got to calm down. And then it was like, we get the shots, and now the fish is like just about had it. And I'm like, all right, we got to bring the fish in. AJ, we got to go in. So I'm like trying to get it. I cannot get AJ's attention for the life of me because he can't hear. He can't hear me underwater, and he can't hear above water. So I'm just screaming at AJ to try and get him because the fish is dead, and I don't think he realizes that at the time. I don't know if he realized like.
No, I didn't have any of the panic, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Well, I mean too is like the fish is dead. Whatever you're getting is useless now. So then I'm trying to get his attention. And then Darren goes, no. Measure the fish and make sure it's legal that we can bring it on beforehand. And I'm like, get me out of this water.
I couldn't believe.
Measure the fish in the ocean, and then throws you a tape measure, one of those
Taylor
flimsy ones.
Yeah, no, it's just a tape measure is like
literally
you're thinking of the roll up that goes in the metal can thing.
No.
Think just a tape. Just a flimsy tape.
Yeah.
So he throws me that, and I'm trying to get on this fish, and the fish isn't dead.
Yeah, it's just tired.
He's tired, and he randomly gets pissed at me trying to measure him. And I'm like, I can get within 6 inches, but I can't get closer than that. You're going to have to bring him up. Like, I cannot do... Every time I almost get it, and you have to measure them a super weird way. So you follow the curvature of their back, and then it goes in the nook of their tail. Mm-hmm. Whereas every other fish, it's like pinch the tail to get the tail counts too. And so I'm like trying to remember that. Plus he's moving, and he gets randomly pretty mad. And then as I'm around him, I'm scared. You know, because I'm again, I can only see 10 foot down. I know I'm in 100 foot of water, and I know there's a shark.
And now you're right by the bait.
Right. So we like do that or whatever, and then I'm like, I can only get within 6 inches, and then we go up into the side of the boat and then finally get out of the water. But I'm like, this is stupid. And I'm like, do you know how pissed our parents would be? But that's the experience. That's the excitement of it all. Here's the thing. When we were in Hawaii, we had a shark attack someone we were with and take their fish. Literally, he fought it, lost the fish. And he's experienced all of that many a times. And I didn't feel anything because I could see all around me. Mm-hmm. And I saw that shark circling us. I saw him coming in on us, and I had fish in my pockets. I did have a spear gun at the time. But not for that shark. I did. You know, what was I going to do? I didn't have that much fear because I could see. But when I couldn't see with the shark, I wouldn't be able to see anything. I couldn't see anything. I could see 100 foot in Hawaii, no question. I could see as far as I could see above surface. Mm-hmm. When you can't see and it's brown water, and then I thought of Steve in Hawaii, and Steve said when we were in Hawaii, a guy we know, we're on Maui, we're going to this beach, we're going to go surfing. We get there, he goes, nope, not going there. I go, why? He goes, brown water. I go, was it like poopy? You know? He goes, no, brown water, shark attack, no question. I was like, really? He goes, we'll turn on the news tonight, and someone will get bit out there today. We went home that night, and someone had gotten bit that day. Because the brown water, it's like they can't see as well or whatever else. So when we were out there, I'm looking down and the water's brown. I can't see, and I'm by a dead fish. I'm like, just get me out of this water. So we finally get out and everything, and we were proud of what we got. I think the footage will be good. It'll help spruce up the episode, and it'll be a shot that nobody else has, which is what we always want to do.
Yep.
But man, did we? It took some doing to do it. That's for sure. Especially when it was like, we have been out there fishing in the sun for 6 hours, and now it's rush to scuba dive. You know, that's
rush too.
Yeah,
it's a very stupid thing.
And you're still dealing with all the stuff from the Scopolamine.
Yes,
like
I was pretty.
In the
I
middle
could.
of it.
Yeah, I would. I wouldn't have been able to see a screen that day. No question. That was the same day as he tried to show me how to do the bait, and I couldn't even do it. So I'm trying to look at the screen underwater, and I go, "Is it on autofocus?" I asked you like 8 times before I took it, and you're like, "Yes." I'm like, "Okay, good," because I can't see a damn thing. I'm just pointing. You know, so that was something. Yeah,
good times in Gloucester.
Yeah. So we went out to eat every night. There's a place called Lobster Land that's supposed to be insanely good.
Hard to get into. You need a reservation.
The haddock was great.
Yeah,
and it was cool meeting the people from Wicked Tuna. It was cool having the experience with Darren. It was cool catching the fish. Eating it has been a amazing delicacy, so that gives you a little hint of what you're going to see in that episode. But just understanding the dynamics of the fishing there and how passionate the people are, that like the whole town of Gloucester is centered around it. What I thought was really cool too is like as the boats come in, if you go like this, this isn't Hawaii. How many videos am I going to have talking about this? But this means this means tails up there, which means we got one. And if you do that, there will be people when you drive in into the underneath the bridge into the harbor, there will be a stack of people there wanting to know if you got one.
Yeah.
And if you go like this, everyone cheers and claps, like genuinely.
It's pretty cool.
It's like the town still circles around, like that's our income. But it's also very nice there. It's beautiful. The people are nice. They will come up to you and say whatever. You know,
whatever.
Yeah. Most of them are very nice. But overhearing some conversations, it's like with their. Let's start here. Their accent is very, very strong Boston.
Yeah.
And like over the top. Gloucester's way more than Boston.
Yeah.
And getting used to it. I only know that from Family Guy, and every time I watch Family Guy, they're being sarcastic or mean to each other. So it's weird that you think the people are being mean to you when they're not necessarily being mean to you.
Just talking to
they're
you.
being the nicest, but they're talking like they talk, and it is what it is.
And they swear a lot.
They do.
So get your kids out of the room, and we apologize to all the pastors listening, but we're gonna have to swear for this next scene pretty strong because it's just because. It's what happened, and it's Jeffrey, so no one gives a damn.
When we finally got our beach day,
once Ryan was done dying.
We made it. We were there for like, an hour and a half. we like, you know what? I'm going to take the time. I'm going to lay down on the beach, just relax and enjoy myself.
You were relaxing.
we lay down. Can't go in the water. The water's only like 60 degrees.
We went in the water. It was a
Brought scuba
was so
stuff thinking, we're going to snorkel. We're going to have fun.
I do cold plunges, and that was genuinely a cold plunge. The water was under 60.
Yeah. Well, but so anyway, so we'll make do. We'll go on the beach. We'll relax. Kyle and I lay down on towels. We hear behind us.
Tanning.
We hear behind us. Hey,
Hold
hey,
on.
kids.
You're missing a part. First, I'm laying there, and all of a sudden, I just feel a ton of sand hit me in the face.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I thought it was the wind because it was pretty windy out. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, and I go like this, and then
Oh yeah, okay. So you hear some pitter patter over on the side, and then you're behind us. Hey, kids! Don't kick the sand. It'll blow and hit other people. And Kyle goes, oh no, don't worry, we're fine.
well, she
No,
was
not
like
trying
harsh.
to-
She was harsh on the
Yeah.
kids, so I felt bad for the kids because they're just playing.
Not trying to cause any problems ever. This lady's response, she goes, no, those are our asshole kids. You can't have them kicking sand on people.
And
And then she sits there and then just starts talking to us.
I just started laughing. But you're in that mode when you're tanning, like where you're laying out in the sun, where your eyes are closed, and it's kind of a big deal to open them because it's like a readjustment and a look behind. So you kind of close your eyes and you really rely on your hearing.
Yeah.
I couldn't see shit anyways.
She's say, oh, sorry, those are our asshole kids. And
Very casually.
And then she goes, the funny thing, those aren't even our fucking kids. I, believe it or not, I'm the grandma.
And this woman she looked pretty young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To claim a grandma.
3 times after that, in a span of maybe a minute and a half, she refers to those kids as her fucking kids. What are you doing? This is every stereotype we joked about coming here, and you're just making it happen in real life.
So then they start a conversation. So then she goes,
Then
you think it's
then
crazy?
We can't
She's the
not eavesdrop. We have to eavesdrop.
Well, and they're 5 feet away from
Yeah.
us. She goes, and if you think that's a surprise, then I'm the grandma. I'm the great grandma. The other one says she's the great grandma.
Oh, that's what it was.
That was believable.
She looked like she was 90.
Yeah, that woman.
Ah.
Yeah. So anyhow, they're having a conversation.
So we try to
This is so
relax.
good. This is
we're
so good.
still laying there. The kids have kind of moved down the beach a bit, so we're just laying there. And then I hear in the background, "Did you hear that so and so died?" And everyone goes, "Oh my God, so and so died! So and so died just a week earlier." The other person.
the great grandma goes, I can't believe this. Everyone my age is dying.
And then I don't remember what the
I do.
Oh, you remember?
Yeah. She goes, I can't believe that everyone my age is dying. She goes, well, you're going to die soon too, bitch. You think you're immortal?
I thought she was talking to her kids.
No, and I'm like,
this was just a conversation between grandma and great grandma.
Okay.
and they're just, and I'm thinking that they're messing with us at
Yeah.
this point. So I look at Jeff, I look over at him like this, and we're both, and I just see his stomach laughing, like we're trying not to laugh out loud, but it's like they're just, oh my God.
That's the thing with the accent. Everything becomes a bit, and they're not even trying. But
Right.
It is a bit.
It's a bit.
It's
Oh,
was
think
it
you're
funny?
immortal?
Well, bitch, you think you're immortal? It was so funny. So sorry for the cursing. Not that sorry, but that is what happened to us, and we're just laying there trying not to die laughing. I did kind of feel for the kids though, because they're like, she called him an asshole, and it's like,
don't mind them. They're just our asshole kids.
they're 4. It's like, what are you doing?
That's a great example. Everyone says, "Oh, you swear like a sailor." That's a city of sailers.
Oh,
whatever.
Wow,
Good call.
They
Yeah,
all-
it is.
They all do swear.
wow,
Yeah.
bitch, I did not realize that.
You
think you're immortal?
God, that was funny. So anyhow, we also did like people are very, approaching, like
Oh, everyone wanted to just chat with you.
Oh,
so Darren had these shirts made for us that had like Real Respect Charter logo on the back and like mine and Jeff's name. We all got one with our names on them, and it also had our logo on it and stuff. And 2 old ladies walk up to us while we were filming because Darren was coming back in. We couldn't go out on the boat the last day because Ryan was dying. So we went to the area where he would be driving through with the boat because they still went out fishing to film him coming through to get that shot so we could tell that story. And while we're out there waiting for him, everyone's waiting as boats are going through, and some lady comes up and taps me on the shoulder and goes, "So what are you about?" And I was like, "Hi." I was like, "Why is she saying that?" And we forget you guys are carrying around these big cameras filming us. Of course people are going to be curious.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. And I like told her about the show and this and
What
that.
makes you so special, huh?
Yeah, so then we end up having like a nice conversation. And then we're like walking away and some kid comes up to Ryan and goes, hey, what are you running there?
Yeah, he want to know what camera it was.
Yeah.
Or was that you?
Yeah, we were together, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Right. Save up your money.
people
Yep.
just come right up and talk to you. It
Yeah.
was nice but funny, you know. But overall, it's a pretty solid episode. We haven't filmed the cooking for it yet, but I'm pretty excited to do that too because I've been making recipes. I did. I don't think I even told you guys. I took one of the fillets and cut it up real fine, and then I pankoed it with that buttery panko thing that I used, and soaked them. Just put them in that and covered it with that and flour, and then I deep fried them in peanut oil, and then I put a little bit of soy sauce on them. So good.
All
So
right.
good. Yeah.
You're going to have to do the raw one here soon.
Yeah.
We can't,
I already ate it raw.
Can't avoid it.
I already ate it raw.
Oh, you did?
I ate it raw before you ate it raw.
No, you did it well done that first day, I thought.
No, I tried it while I was cutting it up.
Yeah.
And I ate the one.
nice.
I ate the
we
one.
tried it there.
Oh,
I also
okay.
ate the one in Hawaii raw.
I do remember that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've been doing. It's interesting about eating it raw. Tuna is like the ocean. You think of canned tuna. So if you don't know anything about this ahi tuna is like the ocean's answer for steak. When you eat it, you're definitely under the impression that you're eating something closer to a land mammal than
That's a good call.
than fish typically is. You're still aware it's fish, but it ain't quite fish. Does not taste like tuna fish from a can whatsoever. It's a completely different experience. It'd be closer to steak, in my opinion.
You cook it like you do a steak. You sear both sides, leave the middle a little pink, in this case kind of purple. But
Yeah.
It's great that way.
And you just a little bit of seasoning. Little trick though, you are not supposed to let it touch fresh water ever. Don't remember why. Do you?
No,
something
I do
ba-
remember
something
that. though.
bad for it.
It wrecks the meat to some degree. It like comes apart or
It becomes brittly because they're always in salt water
Yeah.
and their body's made to deal with salt water. So you can actually make salt water, and then rinse them in that. Like if you want to get schmutz off of them. But I also made it where I did the well done version because that's what Abby wanted. I made just seared ones. I've kind of tried every which way. Very good. I would say that the tuna in Hawaii was a little better, which I think was yellowtail. That was also a much smaller fish, so that could be.
Yeah.
But overall, it's high quality stuff. I'm excited to do some cooking with it for sure. Get some more recipes in. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. We had a lot more topics to talk about, but we talked about these ones so much that we're going to go ahead and cut it because I think we're floating around an hour and a half or more right now. But this podcast, if you're listening to it, you can now watch it on Spotify, which is pretty cool. You can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it on Carbon TV. You can watch it on Wild TV. Which is if you use the Wild TV Plus, I believe their digital version, you can stream it through there for all of our Canadian listeners. Or, I don't blame you, we got Faces for Radio. So if you just want to listen to it, you can find it on all podcast platforms as well. Our new season of the Green Me Outdoors, season 2 of our History Channel show, is going to be coming out October 19th on the History Channel. That's a Saturday. We're also going to have a Christmas special this year. Very excited to hand it to what am I saying? I'm getting all I try to go
Gloucester.
I try to get a little Gloucester in there, but we're excited to share that with you guys. Don't forget our premiere party. The link is in the bio so that you can buy tickets. That is October 12th. Very excited about that as well. Our weekly vlog is still ticking away. If you want to see those raccoons that we trapped, that episode should be coming out either this week or has already come out. So check our vlog series for that. And then last but not least, our how-to video series, which can be found on our YouTube channel and our website. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay green. Live it. Ryan's dad.
Ryan's dad.
We talked a lot.